Alright, hi guys. Okay, today on my workbench I've got something that I promised my sister I'd repair. I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys or not, but this is a vacuum cleaner hose off of a Majestic Vacuum cleaner. And it's one of those vacuum cleaners that use a cord that goes down to your attachment. It's a canister vacuum, and it uses the little cord attachment. So in order to be able to use this and use it correctly, the vacuum cleaner passes the current through these wires. They either pass it through the coils themselves, or they will wrap a wire around them. And it appears to me that this one looks like it's going to be since I really can't tell that there's any cords in here, I'm guessing that they've used the spring coils as the way to transfer the energy. So I've laid out a few of the things that I'm pretty sure I'm going to need here. I'm going to be needing a screwdriver, my crimper, set of wire strippers, some heat shrink tubing, and I'm going to be using some crimp connectors here. I don't know what size yet, but we'll get into that later. Let me get this stuff out of the way here. And by the way, it's a little chilly out here today. It's 34 degrees here in my shop, so that's not very warm. Alright, we're going to start by getting some stuff out of the way here. And we'll start with the screwdriver and open it up and see what we've got in here. So, well, that doesn't look... I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Maybe you guys can see just a little bit better what I'm doing here. Okay. Yeah, there we are. That's a little better. So we're going to remove the screws from the handle. Then we're going to see where we're at. See what we're up against here, guys. Now this one's a little different than some of them I work on. This one actually has a switch here. So we're going to have to watch we don't pay close attention to the wiring, see where all the wires are, and have to make sure we replace it the same way we that we took it out of here. So you want to pay close attention. Alright, let me find something to these screws in. Okay. Just a little something to keep my screws handy so I don't lose them. Set those over here. Now, at this point, we'll... okay, there were 6 screws in there. So at this point, we're going to open her up and see what we've got here. It appears that everything's stuck in this handle, so this is the part that removes. The part with the switch in actually kind of stays there, so alright, let me get this out here, and yep, I was correct. As you can see, they're using the they've actually used the coils of the, see how they come out and they run to these wires. And look at that. There's the heat shrink tubing I was talking about. See, we're going to be needing some of that. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is look where that's broken. And of course, you can see that's broken right there. Let me zoom back out here. Alright, we can see that this is broken right here. And everything appears to be running pretty good there. So what we're going to have to do, we want to keep the orientation about the same. So we're going to look here, and we're going to just do a little bit of, you can see how this has to lay here. So you're going to need about 4 coils. Well, 2, 4, 6 coils inside of here. So we need to come behind this brake. It's going to make our hose probably 4 inches shorter, but my sister doesn't seem to mind that. I've already told her the hose is going to get shorter. So what we need to do is, you can see here now, this is where these wires are going to be broken at. So what we need to do is come back here in pairs of 2, and we're going to go ahead and mark these. I'm going to cheat and use a correction pen for this. For now, we want to sit this back in here, get another good look at it. And you can see there's 2 little pins here on this hose. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's 2 little pins here on this hose, or this plastic piece that connects the hose. That actually threads in, and that goes back to just about right where it comes out of there, actually, which is just about right where that broke. So what we're going to do here is come back in pairs, and so there's 2, there's another pair, 4, 6, and since we got to get behind the brake, we're going to go 1 more set. Okay, so that means we're going to be cutting this hose off. Well, I lost my track here now. There's 1 pair, 2 pairs, there's 1, 2, 3. So we're going to have to cut this right here. So these 2 are the ones we need. Let's go ahead and mark these. I'm going to mark them with white because that's just what I have. Okay, now the next thing is, now that we know where we're going to cut that off at, we're going to thread this out of here, and it should thread right out. Okay, see? Now you can see that this has, it's kind of like threaded. So what we're going to do is go ahead and cut this off back here. Okay, let's see what we can, see how we can do this, actually. Oh, okay, there's a blue one and a white one in there, so it appears that you can see inside this hose, there's a white wire and a blue wire, blue and white. We're going to go ahead and when we cut this off, right here, and what we're going to try to do, I guess I should, let's go ahead and take my pocket knife. And we're going to check this out to see how they connected everything. Not sure what they did. We need to get that heat shrink out of the way so that we can see how they connected. I'm not sure what they did, but I'm going to do it in my own way. Using this other connector. See, they used a type of crimp connector similar to what I'm going to use. You can see it there. Go ahead and take this out of here now. Well, leave it in there. You can see their configuration there. Now the important thing is you want to cut this off so that it fits correctly. We're going to need to cut this the same way they did. One more tool we're going to need. A good set of diagonal wire nippers. So what we're going to do is come down here. We're actually going to snip these 2 wires just about right where they did. So just push these in here. And we're going to cut those off. Same way they did. Then we're going to take our knife. We're going to look at how they cut that out of there. And they cut this back. We're going to cut back along these wires. Well, basically, they've kind of cut that there. like so. And right there. And then we are going to, that was the second one. We're going to come back here. And for now, we've cut that off. And of course, there's a big clog in here, right where that was all broken up. So, of course, that'll all be buried now next time, so we'll be fine. Now, the thing is, need to clean this up just a bit. And looking at this, we should have a white wire and a blue wire. And we have a white wire and a blue wire. So now we're going to clean this up a little bit here and get the wires sort of fixed to work with here. And make this look the same as the since that thing threads on there sort of like that. What you need to make sure of is that this starts to look like this. In other words, you know, you have this place for the for these wires to feed down around, which is, that's what I just cut out around there. So we're trying to make this look like what we've got here. Now, use a pair of scissors here. Clean that up a bit. Okay. And we're going to clean this wire off back to right there. And the same with the white. So now we've got a there, now we've done a nice trim job on there and got that all looking real pretty. Okay, now we've got pretty much what they had there. The next thing we need to do is bare this wire a little bit so we can put a new connector in, and we're going to get rid of this heat shrink tubing off of here. There we go. Okay, now we're fine with that. Next, we want to make sure we can cut this off here. We're going to remove it right behind those little crimps that they put on there. And I'm not sure exactly how they did theirs, but I'll show you how we're going to do ours. It's the best way I know to do it. So first off, we're going to restrip these. Well, actually, before I forget, and I have done that before actually, let's see, okay. Well, that heat shrink tubing might be okay for there. We're going to have to check and make sure that it'll work with our wire over here, and also with whichever type connector we decide to use here. Like I said, mine are a bit longer, so there, see, that one goes over that. And it should work well on that wire. So we're going to be using a size, oh boy, I don't know if you can read that or not. This is a 22/16, which means that's for 22 to 16 gauge wire. So let's see which That tubing appears to be too big there. This seems to be just about the right size. So that's the tubing we're going to go with if it will go up over these wires. So that'll be the next thing we need to check. And we're just going to try to peel this coating, which they have graciously sealed fast to the wire. Try to get this coating off these wires so that we can strip this and put our own connectors on. So I'm sorry if this is a little hard to see, but it's kind of hard to do this and try to keep everything in the camera and show you exactly what I'm doing. Just a little rough. Alright, now we're going to take the strippers and we're going to strip this wire. And as you can see, that looks an awful lot like spring steel. Okay. Now, I'm going to nip this back just a little bit and try to keep them even here. Alright, now let's go ahead and strip these guys back a little bit. And that is some very, very fine wire there. Very fine. Alright, get this up here where you guys can see what I'm doing. So we're just basically stripping this back a little bit. We're going to do the ends. We're going to see if this baby fits over here. Oh yes, good deal. Very good. And it will also fit on these. Now, these have a split in them, and that is so that I can do a double roll crimp on these. So what I'm going to do is, my pliers are set up so that the brake, I don't know if you can see it or not, there's a little tiny slit right here. So what I'm trying to do is get that little tiny slit lined up correctly on my... Okay guys, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to show you this because I can't do this and keep it in camera. But there are little points here on my pliers. If you can see them there or not, there are little points there. Those little points are what I'm trying to get on that brake. Okay. So then what we're going to do is go ahead and, well, first off, tell you what let's do. Let's put these on here and give them a crimp. Okay. Well, there's one. Crimped on there quite tight. Now, let's make sure that this... Oh, yes, see that heat shrink tubing will go right up over that, so that's fine right there. So what we'll do now is cut us 2 pieces of heat shrink, approximately, oh, I don't know, an inch long or so. You want it to be longer than this tube here so that it covers correctly. So we're going to cut 2 pieces. And I'll put this heat shrink away for the next time. I need to get another one of these. And get it lined up. crimp it on this side now. Okay, now we got 2 pieces of that crimped on there quite tightly. Now, need to look at this again because by now I have actually forgotten where they were. So, okay, the white wire hooks to the white wire, so that's pretty simple. So what we're going to do now is find this, get this thing hooked back in here again. Where it belongs. We'll stick our white wire inside. No, we won't. We're going to put our heat shrink tubing over here first. See, guys, I almost screwed up. Again. I'm quite good at that, actually. Screwing up, that is. Now, we will set this baby up for the white wire. And I'm going to have to there it is. Now we'll put the white wire in there and then crimp it. Okay, now heat shrink tubing up around that baby and we'll shrink her down. And there we have one fixed. Now let's go with the red one, which actually hooks to the okay. Now the red one. Okay. I'll double check our connections, and they seem to be very good. Just slide this piece of heat shrink up over that one. Get her melted shut. By the way, heat shrink tubing will shrink to about 50% of its actual size. So you want to try to use the smallest piece that will actually fit over things so that whenever you do shrink it, it actually makes a nice firm fit on here. Because you don't want anything getting snagged in here and trapped. And after all, it is a vacuum cleaner hose. Okay guys, looks like that's looking pretty good. Now we're going to go ahead, and now the fun part, we get to thread this baby back in here again, which is really going to be fun because it's not going to want to go back in there quite as easily as the other one did, being that you actually have to stretch out the hose. So we've got her going now. Once we get it started into the threads, it'll actually thread its own way down in there. This is by no means an easy task, fellas. Okay, there it started. This is not easy by any means. Now, it almost looks like we're there, but we're really not. We've still got a lug sticking out here, so we've got to go one more turn, which really gets hard because okay guys, whew. Now we're back where we started at with this thing. You can see that it's actually threaded in there. We have no hole here now, so my sister will be quite happy that she can vacuum her things again. And now we just basically got to redo the wiring here. So just put this vacuum cleaner hose back together here. There's the switch. It's working correctly. That goes in there. These wires all need to get tucked back in where they go. There we are. That's the way it looks now, guys. And everything fits correctly. We've got this baby caught in there. And it's ready to put the cover back on. So put this side back on here. And everything should be fine. Okay, put the screws back in and we've got it. It's like a factory repair job. My sister will be quite happy. Do not over tighten the screws. I have a bad habit of liking to do that sometimes. It's not something you want to do on something like this because you end up breaking. Strip out the screw and there's no way to repair that. That's pretty tough. Well, actually, I could probably repair that, but I'd rather not. I guess you could fill the hole with epoxy, re-drill it and thread it again, but that's pretty tough to do. We want to avoid, whoops, excuse me. Jeez. Okay. Try to avoid that at all costs. Alright guys, one more screw and got a good repair here. Okay guys, we've taken this old nasty hose here, which was snagged and torn, and made an almost as good as new factory repair with no holes in the line. Absolutely lovely. Alright guys, a lot cheaper than buying a new vacuum cleaner. That should make my sister quite happy. So, alright guys, I'm going to clean everything up here, get my workshop put back together, and get this baby ready to give back to my sister.